I'm not getting frustrated. You're getting frustrated. Fuck. It's not like I've had to record this video like 6 times now because I'm retarded and keep getting all the settings wrong. No, it's nothing like that. That would be ridiculous. Hi YouTube, how are we all doing? It's been a long time. Should have left you without a dope beat. So, it's been like 2 years since I moved from Ukraine. Not quite 2 years since I moved from Ukraine. I found a girlfriend after I moved to Texas. We met on Tinder. It was amazing. First of all, it was just the best. I moved to Texas and got sorted, had a job there. Actually, scratch that whole like previous section that I was just talking about. No. Don't want to break NDAs. I was working, you know, for this company, and at the beginning it was great, but it just wore on me, you know. I started like thinking about things in terms of like, what even is the point, you know? Like, who am I and where am I going? And why am I even going there? Like, what's the point of going anywhere? Who cares? Like, we're all gonna die. You know, nihilism is fashionable or whatever, but you know, those kind of questions really do wear on you. And when you're working for a company like I was working for, and you are like, why are we even making this product? Right? Why are we even making the thing we're making? Who is gonna buy this thing? Why are we wasting our lives building this thing when there are other ones that have everything that ours has? They cost the same amount, basically. Like, is my life worth the $5 difference in that other person, like buying decision? It's for profit, because this company wants to steal some profit from that company, so they like create this product that fits this niche. But let's imagine a different world. What if there was just a communal hardware platform, and you got everyone who's working on routers right now, you got them, all of them, and they designed the best hardware platform for it. And, you know, then make this router, the hardware, open. Everyone has access to that. Everyone has access to all the source, and you can just download it and build it, and it works good because it's like, you know, actually designed by the people who are building it, and they're maintaining it, and they make it work good, and you pay into that company, right, so that the best router in the world gets built. And then everyone that needs a better router can go to this one group, and they don't even have to be a real group, right? Like, it could be like, I come into this scenario, and I'm like, I think our router should do this thing, and I add it myself, and then I'm just describing the open source community, right? Like, how open source actually works is essentially this. But open source in the real world, not my fantasy land, is riddled with companies getting their fingers in every little nook and cranny. They add stuff into like what would be considered basic stuff. They want to support like their own proprietary shit. They add features that no one else can add. And I'm really terrified. This is a different segue that I'm not going to get into right now. If anyone is interested, let me know. But I'm really terrified about ICs and how you know, we don't really know what's in them. If you've worked in embedded technology like I have, you know the documentation is garbage. It could be doing anything other than what it's saying. It could do everything it's saying just fine, right? But you know, like a Wi-Fi module, it could be doing everything it's saying and a whole lot more, right? Like, we don't know. They're bogged down by these different proprietary things. But now you have to think about like well, is it going to support like this specific encoding algorithm, or is it going to support like this other thing that NVIDIA created because they wanted to have their own very specific protocol, and oh no, it's going to use this thing that AMD made because they wanted to have their own very specific protocol. And so you have to work around, these guys are doing these one things, and these guys are doing these other things, and this guy over there is doing yet another thing. But we have standards, but they're so bogged down by everything else. It's enough to drive you insane. Anyway, I was saddled by this feeling of, I'm wasting my time, I'm wasting humanity's time, and I could be doing almost literally anything else and be producing more for society. Like, I'm not saying that what I was doing was unimportant to someone. I'm sure there are a lot of people who made a lot of money because of what I was working on. They sell a lot of products. They have big deals that they talk about, selling 500,000 units to some school to do something there. I'm sure that they make a lot of money doing these deals. So, I'm sure it meant something to someone, but it doesn't mean anything to people, like, if I worked on a router everybody used, and maybe I only got like a little bit in because, there's way more people working on this one router, and so most things are fixed, but, I fixed, I changed something about like the date format that I preferred, and a lot of people use it. I don't fucking know. I get a small thing in there, and I would feel more accomplished about that, because some people are using a router I worked on, a few of them maybe, but they would have just as well used this other thing. But if someone uses a feature that I created and I wanted it in there, me personally, and then other people are like, yeah, that was cool, thanks for doing that, that's like way better to me. Very, very rarely in software, the software world, do you get to be like, I want this thing in there and do it. It's pretty rare that that's the case. You get to make some small wins, like, luckily the features were what were assigned to us, and we could go about getting that feature any way we wanted. And that was amazing, like the amount of freedom I had to, go about this task however I chose. A lot of the time it's like I get to choose like the exact formal logic that accomplishes this task. And when your choices are what formal logic to use to accomplish a task, you run into problems. Because not everyone's formal logic is equal. The formal logic is where, like, the busy work is, I guess. It's like the code monkey work. Like, if you're told do this, do this, do this, you just do those things, and there's no real thinking involved. It's just, going through the process, and that's not fun. It's prone to mistakes all the time. You're translating these conceptual ideas into a specific language that has specific rules and specific grammar, and there are, like, in English, there's ways you can say the same sentence, convey the same ideas in different ways, or at least you'd think that. But it's like, if you're communicating and all you intend to communicate is the desire to return to your home, if you say it that way, like, I have a desire to return to my home, if you said that sentence to someone, they would not just receive the message, I desire to, like, return home. Like, they would not just get that one message, they would also get, maybe you're autistic as well, and like you're, I don't know, it communicates a very strange kind of, it's a strange syntax. Who says that? And then you start thinking, like, well, maybe they're kind of autistic, or they're really into literature or formal logic, as it were. Those would be like bugs, you know, like, it would be like, I didn't mean to communicate this other thing about myself. I only meant to communicate that I wanted to go home. And so there's like one right way to say that, really. And if you only intend to do that, it's like, I want to go home, or I want to go home. It's like that with programming. There's only really one way to write it. Any way you express it other than that one way, in the most, like, abstract sense, introduces artifacting, if you don't do it right. And that artifacting is deviation from that single core idea. It's a problem. And so, like, that's the easiest part of programming, and it's also the easiest to fuck up. And it's not really, it's being, like, redone like a million times, and that's why we're trying to push up to more and more abstract languages, so you can just be like, write this file to the desktop, to a location, and then pick a location and do the thing. That's much easier to write than open file handle blah 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 blah, like, accept cin user input from the screen. Like, that's super complicated. Doing all of the commands by hand would take forever. So we want to push up to more and more higher abstraction levels. But what's underneath the hood is this hodgepodge of a million different libraries supporting a billion different devices made by trillions of different, like, people, like, all these protocols, and there's no real reason for it, and it makes me just go insane. So, hi, back from the cut. If I did cut things. So I was feeling this existential kind of feeling. And so I quit. Just quitting. So that's where I am right now. Working on a video game. And doing stuff like this video. I find it enjoyable to just sit down and let out my thoughts. Purely therapeutic. If you find it enjoyable, that's great. Anyway, I don't know if this story came to a decent conclusion or not, because I can't remember everything I said and how I got to it. So hopefully the story actually made some sense. If not, you know, we'll revisit, I guess. And thanks for hanging out with me. See y'all later.